Hi, I'm DJ Joey T. Welcome to Volume 2 of Top Jocks, the Advanced Mobile DJ Video Series. The best part of being a DJ is watching the crowd dance to your mixes. Yet it takes precision and skill to be a master mixer. A few of the topics we'll discuss on this videotape will be beat-per-beat mixing, using a crossfader, flanging, double beating, structure, pitch control, scratching, and sampling. Is vinyl dead? Some DJs have gone all digital, yet the feel of mixing with records can't be beat. DJs Andre Higginson and George Yanis Jr. start our program here by looking at the dynamics of turntable mixing.
We're going to start it off with a basic beat, which is the best way to start, because then yourself could practice and know where you want to add beats and where you don't want to add beats. I'll demonstrate it for you. I'm going to start it off using the crossfader. Right now the crossfader is in line 2. I'm queuing up line 1. So this is what you're hearing in line 1, which you would normally not hear. I'm queuing up for the snare. You can count the beats in your head with the rhythm of your scratch. I'm going to keep tempo with my scratch. I'm counting 4. When you feel it, you just let it go. That's using a crossfade, in which you only hear one channel and I hear the other one. But now I'm going to let you in on what I hear. This is a cue. I'm waiting for the drop. With the crossfade, you can bring the whole record back. I'm going to cue up channel 2 now. Now I'll demonstrate the visual cue. And what you can see on Archie's ear here, that's where my snare is. So for a quick scratch and quick cue, I'm going to use the visual cue, in which my eye will keep the spot on the record, and use the line in and the line out switch. Using a line in and out switch is a quicker cue and a quicker scratch. As you can see, it's longer on the crossfader to travel from one channel to the next. With the line in and line out, it's bringing you right in, right out. So you can punch in a track.
Okay, now what we're first going to do is get into beat mixing and understand how to get a record on beat. Realize that the records have different tempos sometimes, and you have to cue the tempo so it could basically fall on the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the same count, and they're not falling at like 1, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. You don't want that off count thing happening, but you get that off beat thing. So I'm going to play this record and show you, first of all, with the other turntable, you always want to catch the first rhythm of the record. And when you're starting to DJ or you're practicing, you could take the beginning of the record. As you get more advanced, you could get the record more in the beginning, and you go ahead and find the first beat of whatever point you are in the record. But in this record, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. From experience, I could tell that it sounds a little bit faster than the other one. So I go ahead, I cue it. I have an idea to move it down a little bit slower. This one is right in the middle. I'll play this one. Listen to it. As I'm DJing a club, I could even speed it up just a little bit. And the other one, bring it down. And then start mixing it. This is the headphone mix. I haven't mixed it yet. Now I'm finding the tempo that I can mix both of them on. And what you learn is that when you're mixing two records and you're getting the tempo, you usually have to play with this. You have to play with your cueing, your pitch control. okay? And once you have a basic idea, you go ahead and you're playing your records, you're in the headphones, you have the volume down to a point. You could either start with it halfway up, all the way up, depending what's your preference and depending what effect you're trying to get. But I would start it a little bit right in the middle. And this is a way of mixing by using the upper faders. I prefer to do that. But I'll also show you how to use the crossfader. And now what I said doing is bringing out the other song and bringing up the other one. And now a break point is coming. And I could just leave the other one playing and I did a mix. That's the basics.
This is actually a straightforward beat, in which you can count the beats. It's all down. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting the beats, queuing it up with this record. I'll demonstrate to you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you know when to drop it in after the 4. I'll demonstrate that right now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 different versions, same pitch levels, same song. Now I will show you how to match the songs when the levels are unequal, the pitch is unequal. Suppose this song is up this quick. And you want to add the mix in. But what you know, this song on this channel, the pitch level is lower. You would do the same thing, add the beats in your head, and when you let go, you can see that the beats are off. So you raise the levels, the pitch. At the same time, you're counting the beats in your head. The last time I came in on a downbeat, now I'm looking for the snare. Now I'm going to demonstrate when one song is coming in a little quicker than the other song, how to drop out and how to add in. That's called a punch out. Once you punch the stop and just punch this one in.
Remember, try to mix songs that are similar in beats per minute. The rule of thumb is not to beat mix any songs that are more than 5 beats per minute apart.
I'm using a crossfade right now, which means this is the main beat and it's on line 2. And you can't hear what this is hearing. This is what I normally hear that you wouldn't hear, but I will demonstrate what I'm hearing. I'm using my ear to cue up, waiting for the downbeat. setting up a scratch now because I know on his ear is what they're saying, Mickey Mouse. Now I'm looking at his ear for the snare shot. I know it's gonna come right here. This is a visual cue. I'm not using the crossfader, but the line in and the line out, so I know where the snare shot is. I'm doubling beats right now. That's coming off 1 split second. I'm gonna cue it up. I'm on the ear now, so I know that's where Mickey is. Now I'm going to use the crossfade as a cue scratch. Once one record ends and you get caught, you have the matching beat, so you can just let that ride right in without any problem. And you can just back cue with the other one. This is what you hear. I'm matching and doubling beats. One's entering, all the other one's leaving. I'm doubling up. I'm using my ear to cue up right now. Using a line in, a line out. I'm going to enter a beat now. This is the back cue, which you would normally not hear. That was a demonstration of using a crossfader with a line in and a line out, using your ears to cue with the headphones, and a line in, line out using your visual cue with a mark on the record.
And now what we're going to do is work with the crossfader and try to do basically almost the same thing I did with the up and down faders, which I prefer sometimes to do with the crossfader because it's more precise to say. And I'm going to play 2 new different records to articulate something different in the mix, and so you guys could be able to notice the difference in the music and the selection which I'm using. Here we go. Now those were just some tricks. I could have been more on, but I just want to show you what it basically means to have fun and go ahead and mix 2 records and be creative. You decide, you're the master in control, you're the crowd motivator. Now what we will do is get into playing around and possibly thinking about structure now. Something to remember when you're working with a record, and records that have songs, okay? there's 3 points to consider in a song. There's the verse, there's an intro, and there's a bridge. And wait, let's say 4 parts. There's an intro. An intro is a part where you have an introduction and you mix a record. There's a verse. There's a chorus. That's the part where everybody has a hook of a song and they're singing the song, okay? And the bridge. The bridge is where an instrumentalist might just do a little solo thing, or just a point where you could just keep on rocking a record and doing something that's going back and forth with records. You could have fun with that part. And that's one of the other things that we'll go through today, and I'll explain to you. Realizing the structure of a song and how to create your own structures. I have my beginning point. Now, if I want to practice getting records on beat, you could do a bar count. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a bar. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. I like to count 4 bars because it always makes the music end at a point where no matter where you mix in, it isn't like off count. I like counting on 8. 4 counts are good for cuts. 4 counts are good to basically get a record on cue. But when you're going to really mix a record, always try to do the 8 count. And you could multiply that by 2, or you could even multiply it by 4. It's all to your means. And usually a song, a verse, has 4 bars. And the normal total of beats are 16 beats. You have to realize that if you start mixing a record from the beginning of its verses, it's going to end up after the 16 beats. So because of all the beats, basically what you want to do is learn how to just basically get a record on count and on beat. And what you do is you do this, look. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I count like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Music goes right back into another pattern after 8 counts. Now notice how I started that record after 16 counts, right? And it's still rocking, and it'll end up basically almost on time. Watch this. These are the same records, so when that was gonna start saying Field Doctor, this one, the bass line starts. What I'm trying to show you is that when you go by 8 counts, what ends up happening is that you start getting the record in its structural pattern. And when you multiply by 8, which is 16, you have bigger changes. Basically, what you have to realize is that records have different points and different breaks, and you get to decide at what point does the record end and the point that the verse begins and the chorus begins. It's up to you, and the way that you do that is with the techniques that I taught you before. Being on beat, counting your 8s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, mixing in the beginning points of the record so it could end up on time. You have to experiment and find out where will the record end up when you start mixing. So like right after the verse, you could bring in the chorus of another record or bring in the intro of another record. But you want to make it end like a natural thing. It's not like if you're cutting the song and right in the beginning of the chorus and the whole dance floor stops because you played this record that has a funny rhythm structure hitting off, and it just doesn't end up right. So it's up to you to decide, by looking at your crowd, what's going to work for you. And that's what structure is.
Since the structure of the song is written in 4s and 8s, it's best if you speed up the song in chunks of 4s and 8s. This way the speed up will sound as if it's part of the progression of the song. It's better to increase the tempo of a song rather than slow it down. By speeding up, people will just dance faster. By slowing down, a song seems to lose its sharpness.
We're going to demonstrate how to mix 2 records. A lot of times you don't want to just beat mix because you want to change different styles, different tempos, show a little different versatility, different flavor, as you say. I'm going to demonstrate what you call a bring back or rewind, in which you have one record playing and you want to bring the next record in. You rewind the record back. This is how we'll demonstrate. I'm going to bring it back on the down, which is called your rewind mix back. Now we're going to demonstrate a simple build-up. It's as simple as it sounds. You're going to take one song, build it up from small to big into the other one. I'll demonstrate that now. This is your build-up. And now I'm going to demonstrate to you another way of stopping the record and bringing another one in, what I call the power shortage. So you take the on or off switch, and just like you do, you cut the power off. It's simple but effective. I will demonstrate that for you right now. Simple but effective, adds a little flavor to your mix. Now we're going to demonstrate two types of mixing. One is called a phase mix, in which you take two beats, lay them on top of each other, and you get a phase effect. The next type of mixing, we're going to show a double beat, in which I'll take one beat and I'll purposely place it one beat ahead, one beat behind to give it a double beat effect. First, we'll demonstrate the phase. As you now hear, you get the phase effect. It's almost syntonic, synthesized. Now I'll demonstrate the double beat. This adds a little flavor, a little off beat, but it's actually on beat, with just a little off shot. Here's a build-up. That was a bring back. Here's the phase effect again. As you hear, it sounds synthesized. Now bring back. Now we're going to talk about basic scratching. I'm going to demonstrate a few styles for you. Right now I'm going to demonstrate what I call the transform scratch. For this demonstration, I'm going to use a sampler which has a beat that's perfectly timed and we play continuously. Well, we'll talk about that later. We call it transform scratch because it's called a transformer, because you ever watch a transformer, that's what it sounds like. I will demonstrate that with a basic beat from the sampler. And use the line in and line out switch, which cuts in and cuts off exactly as fast as you can snap. I'm going to build up. Now with the line in and line out, you can cut the record in and out as you wish, as you please, where you want, and bring it back. With a distinct sound that sounds a little bit different than a regular scratch. This is your regular scratch. With the line in, line out, I'm cutting it off and cutting it in. With your basic scratch, you can use the crossfader too, which will cut it in and out. With the transformer though, it transforms it. You can actually make it sound like a car screeching. I will demonstrate that for you.
The mixing techniques you've seen can be effective in getting your crowd onto the dance floor while giving your spinning style something unique. Scratching records can be the most artistic type of mixing.
Now we're going to show you some basic scratching. When you scratch, a scratch adds and breaks a song. Never scratch on a vocal, never scratch on an instrument coming in on the solos. Always wait for a little break. Scratch itself adds a little accent to you. So right here, you could use a scratch to answer somebody. Like someone, the microphone is to say, how do y'all feel out there? And you'll say, oh yeah. You can use that a little bit, answer people. I'm gonna add a little beat and show you how effective that could be. Remember to build up. That was a little build up. I added little scratches there because the beat is funky and it's fat, and the scratches make the people want to get into it. It's expressing how they feel and how you feel, and it gets much people on the dance floor. One, two, three.
Now, considering that I'm not a super scratch mixer, I'm more into mixing, I'm still going to try to show you how to basically work a mixer and be creative. You could do it a little bit more simpler, by which you just go ahead and repeat the word, and it'll point you like of the song, and you bring down the upper fader, or you could basically get into scratching. I used to scratch years ago when I was more into breakdancing and hip-hop because I'm doing so many different styles of music. Sometimes I prefer just to mix the records. And now let's check it out. One thing is you have your channel faders, the up and down faders that you could play with. You could play with a phono line, which is like a switch, or your crossfader, right? When you basically work with your crossfader, you look for the point of the song where you have the point where you want to scratch. It's playing the other side, and you basically do this. That's the basic, just playing it and pulling it back. And then you could basically go ahead and have the volume up, and you could still scratch while it's up and bring it back so you don't hear the back cue and create a rhythmic pattern. Example again. I have one point of the record that I like. The song goes, "Everybody Just Freak." I have another record playing. Of course, I'll have it on beat, and I could go ahead. "Everybody Just Freak." Considering that I cue through the headphones, I get it to the point that I like. You could also use a point where you look at the record, all right? And if you're a DJ into scratching, into rap, a lot of guys go ahead and they put a tape there, or they draw a line so they have a point where they see where the record's turning and they cue it without using the headphones because they mix and scratch so fast. So, again, I'm looking at the cue point. That concludes deciding to scratch, deciding just to repeat a word for just a matter of pleasure, or getting into mixing.
When you scratch with the records, the pressure on your fingers and the quickness of your scratch will raise and lower a level. That's what I will show you here. It's lower here, but then when you're harder, the output level will get higher. It's also when you're matching records too. You'll have one record. These are matched, but if you want to match two songs into one, different production skills and levels were acquired while producing a record. So always check, because one record will be lower than the other one.
Now I'm going to do something a little bit more complex. I'm going to be more artistic and pick points of the record that I want to play with. And remember the matter of counting my records and being on count and on beat.
An equalizer is a piece of equipment that can filter out scratches from old records, emphasize a hi-hat, or help out when a beat-per-beat mix starts to fall out of sync.
You're mixing a record. All of a sudden, the rhythms are going off. If you bring down the bass, it isn't that noticeable. Then it gives you a chance to go ahead and cue up the record a little bit better, or even you could even go ahead and just mix the record. Okay? There's left and right channels. There's some that just come with one main mono type of control. These are my controls. I have the record playing. These are the controls we're focusing on. I had my record pre-cued, and all of a sudden it's going off. And now I have it back on. And now if I'm really lost, I could do one of my other tricks. It wasn't all that odd, but what I'm trying to show you, there's different tricks you can do while mixing, and you could simply pick one of them and go ahead and drop your bass and let the record groove, and you really won't hear the kick going out of pitch, because that's what stands out the most, and you'll be able to go ahead and keep a safer mix. You could even stop the record and catch a cue point and cut a record, back in again. You could go ahead and put a sound effect. There's a lot of different things. The whole thing is to practice basic small things, right? And go ahead and then put those little basic things into bigger things and categorize when you want to do them.
In this case, I'm going to show you how to sample one beat while the beat plays continuously. This will actually be my second turntable without using one. I'll demonstrate that now. You always want to sample a beat on the downbeat and end on the up. So you want to cue it. I'm using an 8-second sample. You don't have to use the whole 8 seconds if you want, but I'm just going to demonstrate a little sample here. I just ended the sample. As you can tell, it's perfectly matched. Once the sample is placed in, you can play with a pitch. You can speed it up. If you have nothing mix, let's have it play continuously as you wish. In that case, you could bring the other beat in. and practice the different techniques that we showed you here today. Our build-up. We can also flange off it. You can also double the beats. This is on a continuous play. You also have different aspects you can use. You can punch in as an accent and do it manually and count the beats and double it up. Also put it back for repeat. Once you have established this, you can mix as you wish. Remember to always come in on a downbeat and then with the upbeat, or vice versa for a complete mix.
If you're into doing tricks with your turntables, here's something that just might flip you out. You'd like to play a song backwards, but it won't remain consistent with the tempo of the song that's playing on air. Well, here goes. Place a roll of duct tape onto the platter. You can get more intricate by adding height to the center of the spindle. Place a record on top of the duct tape. Take the head shell off the tone arm and turn it upside down. Counteract the balance to have a negative force heading up. Now place the needle to the record and voila! The grooves will play from inside to out. Now you can play the record backwards in time to the same record that's playing on air.
Hi, my name is Charles Swade, president of Upstairs Records. We're here today showing you some hot new DJ gear. And if you want to be a hot scratching DJ, you got to have the hot products. And this is one of the hot products right here. It's the Gemini Platinum Series PS626 mixer. It features 3 channels. You can hook up 3 turntables, 3 lines, microphone, all into one mixer. 10-inch mixer, compact in size. Each channel has its own EQ. You have a 3-band EQ and a gain control on each channel. In addition, you have an LED beat indicator, which lights up with each beat for those of you who want to do beat blending. And most important, you got this crossfader cueing, which is important for the scratching DJs as well. Hot product from Gemini Sound. While most record companies are forcing DJs into CDs, most scratching DJs still prefer to use vinyl. The hot product today is the Vestax PDT 5000. Comes equipped with a quartz lock motor, high torque motor, and a plus or minus 10% pitch control change. It also has an illuminated VU meter, so now you can see actually where your pitch control is, as well as a floating arm suspension to eliminate any feedback.
As CDs become more popular, less vinyl is available, and CD players address the needs of the mobile DJ, it becomes necessary to learn how to beat mix with CD players. Mobile beat columnist and abracadabra technician George Mohr gives us a demonstration.
Okay, basically what we have here are pretty much the 3 industry standard pieces, what the DJs pretty much use. The turntable, obviously the Technics 1200, the CDJ 500 by Pioneer, and a Denon 2000F. For all practical purposes, I'm pretty much going to be mostly using the Denon for the demonstrations. What I would like to introduce, the first thing, is queuing up. A lot of DJs have a problem with this particular step because the CD sounds a little different than a turntable when queuing up. And I'll basically show you first how you would queue up a certain part on a turntable and relate that to the CD player I have here. I'm going to first play the turntable. Now what we want to do is find the beat. It should be coming up right about now. There it is. Now what the DJ would do in the headphone is cue up to the point where the beat is. There it is. And they would put it here. Now the record is ready to go. Upon starting, the DJ would just release it and use the pitch control to mix it in. On a CD player, however, it's a little bit different. I'm going to switch over to CD player and I'm going to play the same exact part of this song except the CD version. There was the beat, I just passed it. Now what's going to happen is now I have to get this beat cued in. And this is what most DJs hear when they stop the CD. The CD itself actually continues to spin inside, and what we're actually doing is moving the eye of the laser. If you notice, you can hear it as I'm moving the CD back and forth. And there was the beat again. Now what we want to do is back this up to just before the beat, as you hear it right now. Right there we are. This button Q right here will save where I have stopped the CD, so I can actually go back to it later. If I make a mistake or I misadjust the pitch control, I can always go back to this point by pushing Q. The next topic I would like to discuss is the pitch control itself. On the turntable, right here, this control right here controls the pitch. This is a 4% increase in pitch, and this is a 4% decrease in pitch. On the CD player, it works exactly the same way. This is a 4% increase in pitch. This is a 4% decrease in pitch. On the Pioneer here, this one even has a digital readout. Unfortunately, it's a little bright out, so you cannot see it. But it will actually spell out a -4 or +4 increase and decrease in pitch. The last item I'd like to discuss is pitch bending. This is referred to once you get your pitch set on the turntable. The DJ would keep the beat with the song once he has his pitch set by either slightly speeding up the record or lagging it. Once the DJ lets his hands off the record, it will go back to what the pitch is set here. The CD player is a little different to pitch bend. You have two buttons here which are appropriately labeled pitch bend. This is minus and this is plus. Just going to bring the pitch up a little bit. When I push this button, it will momentarily increase the pitch. And this will momentarily decrease the pitch. On the Pioneer, the large shuttle wheel here actually acts to pitch bend. This is a newer concept and mimics closely what I was doing with the CD player, the turntable here. Once you got the basic techniques down pat, you can just about mix anything. What I'm going to be doing right now is actually be mixing two CDs together. The CD that I have on this side will be the source that will be normally playing out to the crowd, and this is the one that I'm going to be queuing up in the headphone. Now, for demonstration purposes, I will be having the channel 1 being playing through the speaker so you can hear exactly what I'm going to be doing. This is the song that will be playing outside now, and I would like to mix this one into it. As you can see, we have two problems. This song is faster and it also is lagging. It doesn't quite start up. On time. So what we're going to do is use the queuing technique, which I showed you earlier, to position the laser beam right where the music starts. And we also said that it was a little fast, so what we're going to do is knock the pitch down a little bit. Now remember, this side is still playing on the outside, and this is what we're hearing in the headphone. This is pretty much closer to what we want. What I'm doing right now is bending the pitch to keep this song in line with this one. Now what I would do in order to bring this song in, this will be an actual situation. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Manufacturers today have made it a lot easier for DJs to switch over from vinyl to CDs. They add a lot of new features on their CD players to make it easy for DJs to do beat mixing, such as pitch control, queuing, and instant start. The hot new products today are the GLI DC5000 and the Denon DN2500F. DC5000 also features a joystick control lever with cue point sampling. It's a nice feature. What you do is you set it when you get to the good part of the song, and then by clicking it this way, it returns to that cue point. Makes a nice stuttering effect as well. In addition, it has pitch bend right from the joystick control, or you can permanently set it with the normal pitch control setting on the left. Denon sampler stores 5.9 seconds of sampling time. It can be played on top of the music, or we can stop the music, take out the CD, and have the sampler playing by itself. Right now the CD's out, sampler is playing. Triggering it. It also has a nice feature where you can play the samples in reverse. Has a nice funky sound to it.
One of the added advantages of the back cue feature on this CD player, it allows you to do certain special effects. Kind of like how a DJ would scratch with a turntable, you can also create a sort of sampling effect with the CD player. And I'm going to be demonstrating that right now. First thing you have to do is cue up the CD player like you're going to be mixing. I would like to grab the portion where she says rises at night. So I'm going to cue that in. Okay, now I'm going to save that point right here on the cue. Don't forget, each time I hit the cue, it returns back to that point. So it can give you some sort of like a sampling effect like I was explaining earlier. Now I'm going to take this effect and put it into a song on this side of the CD player, sort of like overlaying it. That's all there is to it. Some of the CD player manufacturers, like Pioneer here, purposely put special effect items inside of the unit. This particular unit here has a feature called loop, and this will allow you to actually take a certain portion of the song and loop it over and over again so that you can mix something else into it. This is especially true like if you have a very, very short song, or like some of the classic disco songs which you only have a very small break to work with. So you can loop it over and over so you would have something to work with. I'm going to demonstrate on this particular piece right here. Now what it's going to do is it's going to repeat this part over and over again. Now I can adjust the pitch. Now I'm going to release the loop so the rest of the song will play. You can also use the loop feature to create special effects like on the Denon, sort of the sampling I was talking about. Again, there are a lot of features available in today's CD players that not only help you mix, but also allow you to give some sort of creativeness, kind of like scratching with a turntable, and other features that are normally associated with spinning with turntables. While the features are a little different when playing with CD players, they do add some sort of a creativity as well. As a final word, I hope you have gained some insight on how to use CD players and mix with them, and as you can see, they are just as easy as working with turntables. I hope you use the knowledge to your advantage.
When mixing CDs, you can't move the needle across the record or see the grooves to find a break. You need to do your homework first. Listen to the CD at home. Write down the beats per minute, the times of the breaks, and how a song ends. Label it right on the CD sleeve. A good way to learn how to mix is to listen to other jocks, especially club DJs. If you know someone who's good, ask them if you can use a Y splitter so you can listen through a second set of headphones. You'll be able to listen, feel, and watch exactly how the mixing and queuing up before it's heard by the crowd. The mobile DJ industry is extremely competitive. To be successful, become an entrepreneur, and stay ahead of your competition, you need to use every tool for success that's available. Whether it's a DJ magazine, a computer program, audio cassettes, videotapes, books, or newsletters, the information and ideas within these can be the keys to success. In fact, if you gain just one job using these tools, they'll have paid for themselves many times over. Magazine subscriptions are a great way to keep in touch with the latest industry trends. DJ Times and Mobile Beat are the cream of the crop. Mobile Beat is dedicated exclusively to the mobile entertainment industry. DJ Times, as well as covering the mobile field, focuses on the club scene and new music. Both offer equipment reviews, industry trends, legal concepts, as well as thoughts and ideas from fellow DJs working in the field. The top two books I recommend are Spinning 2000, The Ultimate Guide to Fun and Profit as a Mobile Disc Jockey, and The Wedding Expert's Guide to Sales and Marketing. Written by Mobile Beat editor Bob Lindquist, Spinning 2000 offers detailed information on all aspects of the mobile DJ business. From mobile routes to multi-systems and franchising your company, Spinning 2000 covers all the bases. Written by wedding and bridal show expert Brian Lawrence, The Wedding Expert's Guide to Sales and Marketing covers strategies, avenues, and promotions to increase your business. The book gives DJs the competitive edge to become a leader in the wedding market. An interview with Brian is featured on Volume 4 of Top Jocks. If you've ever attended the DJ Times International Expo, you know the seminars offered are a vast source of knowledge. Well, did you know that you can purchase the audio tapes of these seminars? DJ Times offers each seminar at an extremely affordable price. And of course, I recommend videotapes, especially Top Jocks. And for the beginner, the video guide to earning money as a mobile DJ. Well, that's about it. On this videotape, we've shown you spinning techniques utilizing vinyl and CDs. We hope these concepts can work for you. I'm DJ Joey T. I'll see you on the next volume of Top Jocks.